These are 1 in a billion NHL moments.
He's not happy with the referee that they didn't see that he was in distress.
And first, we got the time Andre Burakovsky shot a goal so hard on net, it ripped right through it.
I think Ingram thought it was
I think he did too, because you look at it, that might have gone through.
But Victor Hedman almost ripped his teammate's head off, because he somehow didn't see Ben Bishop and knocked him unconscious.
The puck, Bishop's out to play, one in his own man, Patrick Sharp scores! And Ben Bishop is down, colliding with Hedman as Sharp gets an empty netter.
That was the easiest goal ever, but Oscar Steen's goal was almost impossible, because he got his first career point by scoring off the top of the goal.
Forward, right in front, Polino off the roof of the net, and it trampolines.
That puck was on top, the mesh on top of the net.
He domed the goalie too, but sometimes 1 in a billion moments are unlucky. Like when Steven Stamkos' shot on goal turned into a penalty, because his stick broke in half, and when he threw it out of the way, it accidentally flew into the stands.
He blasts the stick into 2 pieces, and part of it flies into the stands, and Stamkos is going to be penalized for that. It's a rarely seen penalty. Stamkos is just flinging the stick to get rid of it, and it cleared the low glass.
Good thing no one got hurt, but I know the Devils goalie was hurting bad, because the one time he took his eye off the puck, an impossible shot scored.
Seen the last 2 home games.
Oh, wow. What an unfortunate bounce there. Off the dasher board as Nemitz was going to the left.
But this next moment's really off the wall, because Jonathan Marchessault passed to himself off the boards and scored a nasty goal.
Just goes away. The veteran played that in funny hop and scores off the ledge, and Joseph Woll lost track of it, and Marchessault found it first.
But one Islanders goalie was doing anything he could to stop the puck, because he used his water bottle holder to end a shot on goal.
That much more difficult. Shot by Adams down low. Save it. Oh, and the rebound. And it just hits the netting and goes right into the... Yeah!
Now, you'd never expect what goalie Brandon Bussey did, because right after making a tough save, he somehow threw the puck in his own net.
Bussey comes up to challenge, makes the save, puck still loose, and they'll score.
Another challenging stop for Bussey. It looks like it's outside the crease. There's nothing you can...
That's an L. But this next moment is a huge W, because an Avalanche player scored an unlikely goal with his skate.
Saved by Ottinger. They score!
Does that puck get kicked in? Does it go off a skate?
If it does, I don't think it's intentional. There's no doubt he kicks it.
Dude was playing soccer out there. But Steve Smith played himself, because when he tried to clear the puck, no one expected what happened next.
Steve Bozak.
Oh, they score! Oh, Steve Smith, in attempting to get it out of his own zone, put it in the net.
Hard to bounce back from that one, but Sidney Crosby's bouncing all over the place, because he once scored a goal by smacking it off the goalie's back.
Crosby tried to center it. And he banks one in! Crosby with an incredible goal from behind the net!
I can't lie, that was nasty, but Paul Ranger is just dirty, because one shot on goal was the likes of which no one's ever seen.
Ranger and it run.
I watched in slow-mo and still don't know how he pulled that off, but nobody knows how this next play happened, because Craig Smith had a wide-open net and figured out a way to miss.
For Smith, and Smith into the empty net.
They're saying it didn't go in.
Really?
They're saying it went up and over the net.
For his sake, I hope that's 1 in a billion. But the Bruins pulled off something we may never see again, because when they were shorthanded, they could only play with 4 players on the ice. Well, they still somehow found a way to score, not just once, but 3 times.
Right past Rodney Pye, goes right to goal with it, the turnaround shot, scores! Into space, Krejci steals the puck to Wheeler, he scores! Pass for Bajel, Pye middle, a shot, scores! Make it 3! They have equaled their shorthanded output for the season in a single penalty kill.
But I can't lie, this next play looks like it was faked on special effects, because in an Islanders game, the puck got slapped and rested right on top of the boards.
That puck's on the ledge of the boards.
Where is it? Who's got it?
Better than being caught in the boards, because Derek Roy's stick got stuck in the most unlikely place.
65 is right now back of the net. Is a stick making a play without someone attached to it?
But a bad stick can't stop Sidney Crosby, because even after breaking his stick, he still found a way to score.
Nice job.
Crosby's stick, able to push it forward. The attacking zone, Letang inside out. He tried to get the shot off. It's down to a rebound. Crosby, he scores! Sidney Crosby slams it home, and the Penguins with a 1-0 lead. Look at the bench.
But what if I told you Tage Thompson scored a goal that might be the craziest accidental trick shot we'll ever see?
Olofsson will tee it up. His stick shattered. And then it came off, blanking it from the end boards, and the Sabres are going to win the game.
Now, it's rare to see a goal scored off the goalie, but what's even more rare is seeing the puck go through the goalie's glove.
One-timer by Miller off the glove of Campbell and in, and it's 2-0.
Now, sometimes if you're really unlucky, the hockey gods will work against you. Like this time a goalie got scored on after his teammate tried clearing the puck.
That one misses off of Wolf. Scores! What a strange goal for Sandberg off the glass, off Wolf and in.
But you might not be able to score on Martin Brodeur, because the puck will find its way inside his equipment.
Here's a shot saved by Brodeur on the shot by Toffoli.
They're trying to find the puck here, Bob. Where's the puck? Hey, you talk about rebound control. That's rebound control.
That's unreal. But Jerry Mayhew is making him look stupid, because he doesn't need a good view of the net. He just needs your legs open.
And Mayhew will chip in charge. Quick whips on it. And it's in the back of the net.
But Kuznetsov is open to all kinds of tricks, like the time his opponent's stick got stuck in the boards and he tried to steal it.
Whoa, his stick's caught. Holden's stick is stuck in the glass. That's one you don't see every day.
Now Kuzi's got Holden's stick.
Can you do that?
Now, would you believe me if I told you a goalie turned into a real-life ninja? Because when Tuukka Rask lost his skate blade, he threw it like a ninja star.
Rask throws the blade in disgust, and he is beside himself.
He could have killed someone, but Ryan Suter's killing his team, because instead of playing defense, he kicked the puck in his own goal like a hacky sack.
Zone. Throws a bouncing puck. It's in! A bouncing puck, I think again, another own goal.
I wouldn't be shocked if he was throwing the game, but in the NHL, you never know what you're gonna see. Because when the Ducks mascot Wild Wing was told to bring the heat during the pregame, he might have taken it a little too far. Bro almost turned himself into a Thanksgiving dinner. But mascots aren't the only ones getting destroyed before a game. Because right before the Oilers got blown out by the Flames, something else blew out right before the game started. Damn, that took forever. But 1 in a billion moments only last seconds, because what Patrick Waugh did on December 2nd, 1995 shocked the hockey world. See, in the 90s, Patrick Waugh was a legend. He'd won 3 Vezina trophies, 2 Conn Smythe trophies, and 2 Stanley Cups with the Canadiens, and he wasn't expected to slow down. Well, not only would that change, but it would change in a way nobody saw coming. And it all started when the Canadiens replaced their head coach with Mario Tremblay just 4 games into the 95-96 season, because Tremblay and Waugh didn't exactly have a friendly history. While they were teammates, Mario bullied Waugh for speaking broken English. During Tremblay's radio career, he laid into Waugh's performance. And before Tremblay was announced as head coach, the two nearly got in a full-on fight in a coffee shop. But despite that nasty history, they chilled out for most of the season. And by December 2nd, when Montreal played Detroit, it seemed like the beef was gone. But as Detroit started scoring, tension simmered.
Patrick Waugh, and he scores on the rebound. Cleared by Yzerman, and a breakaway here for Dandino in, and he scores.
Waugh was getting hung out to dry. By the end of the first period, Detroit was up 5-1, and Waugh was fuming. But not just because of the score.
Patrick Waugh is looking over to the bench like he wants out. What a thrill, as you mentioned, Dandino scored the last time these two teams meet.
Despite giving up 7 goals, Tremblay refused to pull him. Was it a lack of experience? A punishment? The beef? Ego? Most likely all of the above. And the longer he left Waugh in, the worse it got. Because as the score continued to rise, even fans who once worshipped Waugh flipped in an instant.
And the fans getting on Patrick Waugh, who responds. Lariana Fedorov scores 9-1.
After letting the Habs get scored on 9 out of 26 shots, Tremblay finally removed Waugh. He might have regretted waiting so long, because what Waugh did next shocked everyone.
As he made his way to the bench, Waugh brushed past his head coach, Mario Tremblay. He then confronted team president Ronald Corey with the message that he would never play for Montreal again.
And it would be his last game. Just 4 days later, he was traded to the Colorado Avalanche. But despite having one of the worst send-offs ever, Waugh got his revenge on Tremblay. With the Avalanche, he won 2 more Stanley Cups and another Conn Smythe Trophy, a record that still hasn't been beat. Personally, I would have preferred a shootout between Tremblay and Waugh, but the odds a coach gets on the ice are low. Because even though we got the emergency backup goalie now, there was a time not too long ago where if both goalies went down, that meant your coach would go in. And on March 3rd, 2015, the threat of a coach-turned-goalie became real.
Roberto Luongo, after the first period, left with an injury. And Al Montoya, the backup, with an injury.
I mean, ultimately, Rob Tallis wouldn't be the worst choice. At least he was a former NHL goalie. But you don't exactly want to be relying on an out-of-shape 42-year-old to save the game.
Luongo appears to be pointing to the area where maybe he caught the puck. Pure speculation. Perhaps he's saying, I'm okay, I don't know. Gerard Gallant is down there. And then into your screen there came Eric Joyce, the San Antonio AHL general manager. Al Montoya, after all that, stays in the game.
Respect to Montoya for just playing through the pain, but just in case he got injured again, Rob Tallis decided to pull the rarest coach moment ever.
Oh my! He is a Panther goalie coach, and he is ready.
Luongo left after the first period with an upper body injury. He and Montoya having a conversation.
Phew, that was close. Thank God NHL players are actually tough, but some are far tougher than others. Ryan Reeves actually built a career as one of the NHL's most feared physical presences.
There's Ryan Reeves in deep. Oh, shot. That's off a leg. Bang! And then a hit by Reeves.
That is a guy that teams hope is on the ice when things get heated. Someone who can give just as well as he takes. And it's rare that he's on the receiving end. About as rare as seeing Tom Wilson on the receiving end. Because Wilson is basically Washington's Reeves. Big, rough, and physical towards anyone in his path. Well, anyone except Reeves. Because in 2018, Reeves almost buried him.
Wrist shot from Ovechkin blocks. And Ovechkin with the body on Reeves. Wilson's over and Reeves dumps him.
Laughing in his face after that last one is absolutely crazy. But I'd say single-handedly beating another team and setting a new record is even more wild. Because some records you can see coming. They're built with years of consistency and feel earned. But Daryl Sittler's, his fell out of the sky. Sure, he had obvious raw talent.
He would reach 80 or more points in 8 straight seasons.
Sid was a guy that you knew was going to play well every night. If it's against Philadelphia or Calgary, it doesn't matter. Sid's going to have a good night and be a great leader.
But even with all those stats, you could never have predicted what happened during the Leafs game against the Bruins on February 7th, 1976. Because the record he set that night isn't even 1 in a billion, more like 1 in a trillion.
At the end of the second period, I had 7 points, and we were in the dressing room, and our statistician came over to me, and he said, Daryl, I don't know if you know it, but if you get another one, you tie Rocket Richard's record from the 40s. So going into the third period, I knew I had a shot at maybe tying a record, and then scored 3 goals after that.
I sat with my mouth open at the game and couldn't believe it, and still can't to this day.
Never thought he was going to score 10 points. That was amazing. And I don't think we realized till we got in the dressing afterwards.
It'll never happen again, I don't think.
In sports, sometimes the unthinkable does happen, and it happened to me.
Yeah, no kidding. It still hasn't been beaten. The closest anyone's even gotten was Sam Gagner's performance in 2012, and he was still off by 2 points. But as rare as Sittler's record is, it's nowhere near as rare as Chris Pronger's injury. See, bad injuries in hockey are kind of par for the course. Eric Lindros' concussions, Richard Zednik's throw are all brutal, but not completely out of left field. Whereas what happened to Chris Pronger in 1998, that is 1 in a billion.
Lariata hands it across, big drive, and that one blocked and into the equipment of Jeff Portnoy, and another penalty coming up.
Pronger could be hurting here, guys. He took the slap shot into the chest. This isn't funny. There's a problem here. He took the slap shot into the chest.
Following his collapse, Pronger was unconscious for around 30 seconds, and for a moment his heartbeat was weak or non-existent, because basically, when the puck hit his chest, it hit at the exact wrong time and triggered a commotio cordis, a sudden, fatal-looking, irregular heartbeat. That kind of thing barely happens once in a lifetime, if at all. But luckily for Pronger, 30 seconds was about as long as it lasted.
Pronger regained consciousness after about 30 seconds. but he remained on the ice for 10 minutes as the Blues medical staff tended to him. On Mother's Day, Mrs. Pronger followed her son to Henry Ford Hospital, where doctors found nothing unusual.
Chest x-ray was normal. Blood pressure, pulse, exam, everything are just fine right now, so it's just a very brief incident.
Well, clearly he ended up being fine, because just 4 days later, he returned for the next playoff game. And while that's impressive to see, you also hope you never see it again. But what happened to the Sedin brothers, you actually won't see again, because it's basically statistically impossible to repeat. See, Henrik Sedin wore number 33 and Daniel Sedin wore 22 throughout their whole career on the Canucks. And those numbers are important in understanding the absurdity of what happened in their final game, because that's where Daniel scored his 22nd goal of the season, which was scored 33 seconds into the second period, which was assisted by his brother, number 33, and also Alex Edler, number 23. Eventually, the game went into overtime, and the shots going into overtime were 33-22. Daniel then scored the game-winning goal in OT, which was scored at 2 minutes and 33 seconds of overtime, and no joke, again assisted by Henrik and Edler. That made it his 23rd goal of the season, the 23rd assist of Henrik's season, and on top of that, set a new NHL record. And if all that still isn't enough to qualify as a matrix glitch, get this. If you treat OT as an extension of the third period, 2 minutes and 33 seconds, the time the OT goal was shot equals 22 minutes, 33 seconds of the third period. At some point, those stop being coincidences and look like the numbers were actually programmed. And the Sedins weren't the only guys who forgot to turn off hacks. What the 1993 Montreal Canadiens did in the playoffs is something you'd only see in NHL 26. See, they opened the postseason with an overtime loss, and usually that's not a good omen when you're in the endgame, but they completely flipped the script.
Montreal ultimately defeated Quebec in the division semifinals, posting a pair of overtime wins in the series. Canadians then swept the Buffalo Sabres in the division finals, with the last 3 of those victories all coming in overtime. Montreal defeated the New York Islanders in 5 games during the conference finals, with 2 of their 4 triumphs in overtime. Then, in the Stanley Cup final, the Los Angeles Kings captured Game 1 before the Canadians won the next 2 contests in overtime. That set the stage for Game 4 of the series on June 7, 1993, at the Los Angeles Forum. At 14:37 of the first extra period, forward John LeClair became the second player in NHL history to score overtime goals in consecutive games of the Stanley Cup final, and also gave the Canadians a record 10 straight overtime victories in a single postseason.
Do you realize how hard that is? In a sport where sudden death is basically a coin flip, it landed on heads 10 straight times. And the actual Guinness World Record for landing on heads is just 8 in a row. Beating that is something that happens once and then never again. In fact, just getting to the NHL is something you basically never see. But ending up in the NHL with your brothers? Now that's a 1 in a billion shot. Yeah, sure, we've seen brothers before with the Sedins or Stahls, but even though the Stahls had 4 in, they simply cannot compete with the Sutters, because the Sutter family is built different. Out of 7 brothers, 6, Brian, Daryl, Dwayne, Brent, Rich, and Ron all made it to the NHL. The 7th, Gary, stayed home to work on the farm, and I can't blame him. If you thought competing as kids was bad, imagine it at the pro level. Actually, you don't have to imagine.
In late October, at Philadelphia, 3 brothers named Sutter converged on one loose puck, and just seconds later were joined by still another, to bring the NHL, as well as Mr. and Mrs. Sutter, another first.
But they're not just stopping at their generation. 3 of their kids have already had full careers, and the 3rd generation is on their way up. Winning the NHL lottery that many times is insane. But while their 1 in a billion moment was basically destined, the Vegas Knights had to work an entire year for theirs. See, when the Vegas Golden Knights were awarded an NHL expansion franchise in 2016 to play in the 17-18 season, expectations were in the gutter.
I thought they would have a little better looking lineup.
After the draft, plenty of people were suggesting that George McPhee missed the mark.
Most people in the press thought that the team was awful. The worst expansion draft of all time.
Come on, boys, wake up here. It was a bunch of guys from a bunch of different teams that came to the desert to play hockey. Nobody thought they was going to do nothing.
Around the league, if you read all the preseason predictions, it was not good.
And there's one particular hockey pundit who picked the Golden Knights to be 31st out of 31. Forget about being competitive. people were picking the Knights to be dead last.
Yeah, so with that kind of press, people weren't exactly expecting much more than a positive record, if they could even somehow manage that. Sure, they started out with guys like Marc-Andre Fleury, William Karlsson, Eric Haula, and Riley Smith, but back then, most of these guys didn't have the name recognition they do now. These were guys that have been passed over, underused, viewed as replaceable, and ultimately, guys that teams chose not to protect. Despite this, their preseason wasn't terrible. I mean, 3-3-1 isn't anything to sneeze over, but the real pressure hit before their first home game, because just 9 days earlier,
Sounds like it's coming from Mandalay Bay. I see the shot coming from Mandalay Bay. I need immediate medical flight. This way. Go. That way.
The actual crime scene is over 3 square miles. We had hundreds of people that were shot.
We went to work the next day and you could have heard a pin drop in the office. It's like, you don't know what to say. You don't know who is impacted. We wanted to.
You'd come into work and you want to cry, but you're just stunned and you don't really know how to feel. It's gut-wrenching.
What gets lost in this is there's an enormous amount of human loss here. 58 people are dead. 58 families are torn apart. It's irreparable.
Route 91 Harvest Music Festival shooting is still the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. But when the shooting occurred, all of the Knights were in San Jose playing a game. But the second they found out, they dropped everything and went right to Vegas.
You know, I've lived here for a number of years now, and I've done a charity hockey game with firefighters every summer. And so I knew a lot of the first responders, and then we knew a lot of people that were going down to watch the concerts. And first thing that runs through your mind is seeing if they're okay.
Every single player was like, what can I do? I need to do something. I want to do something. What can we do to help?
It wasn't about hockey anymore. It was about the people that were affected by it, and doing whatever we could to, you know, if it was just shake a hand, give a hug, you know, maybe get them to not think about it for a few minutes. Just try to bring a smile to someone's face.
That is how you show up for your community. And that was just the beginning. When it was time for their opening game, they understandably canceled their opening night celebrations in favor of something more respectful from Derek Engeland.
Like all of you, I'm proud to call Las Vegas home. I met my wife here, my kids were born here, and I know how special this city is. To all the brave first responders that have worked tirelessly and courageously throughout this whole tragedy, we thank you. To the families and friends of the victims, know that we'll do everything we can to help you and our city heal. We are Vegas strong.
And that ignited something that no modern expansion team in any of North America's major sports has ever done.
My expectations for our hockey team are very high. I intend to create a dynasty here in Las Vegas.
Mr. Foley said, playoffs in 3 years, Stanley Cup in 6. Okay, I've heard other outlandish predictions in my time that never came true. Maybe this is just another.
It was not just another one. Not only did they win that night, but out of their first 10 home games, they only lost once, and it was all thanks to how they selected players.
George did in assembling the team was to identify the desirable asset of those teams and uncover any stone that we could possibly think of to overturn.
Find the gems, and that's what we went into the draft trying to unearth. Find the unknown surprises.
Every time I took somebody out and put somebody else in, they played really well. So we had 23 guys that were really important to our group.
The speed that we brought to the game, that was our biggest asset. Every team, every building we went to, the comment always was exactly the same. You guys are fast. We don't see a team that is this fast that keeps coming at you shift after shift after shift.
And they didn't slow down either. Starting with that opening home game, they went win after win after win after win. Out of 13 games in December, they only lost twice. By the end of their season, their record was 51-24-7 and were first place in their division. And on the night of their final game, they did something special.
The Knights chose to retire the number 58. And they created a banner, and instead of having the number 58 emblazoned on the banner, they would take 58 starbursts.
The feeling of watching the 58 names, the 58 angels being, and you say raised to heaven almost, up into the rafters of the arena. Very emotional.
I mean, when you got the weight of an entire city with you every night, losing probably stops feeling like an option. And it wasn't, because when it came time for the playoffs, they weren't just a contender, they made history.
The Golden Knights have projected that quote on the ice before the game.
Everyone believes that this team is gonna flare up. And sure, it was a great story in the regular season, but here we are in the playoffs.
The Stanley Cup playoffs underway. Huge hit by Carrier on Doughty.
The Golden Knights were here to play playoff hockey, and they were going out of their way to get in the head of Drew Doughty to make sure that he knew that he was a marked man.
Yeah, he probably got the message. And if he didn't, watching his team go 0-4 against the Knights definitely drilled it in. From there, the Knights went on to beat the Sharks 4-2 in the Western Conference's second round, then beat the Jets in the finals 4-1. By the time the Stanley Cup rolled around, a win was practically unavoidable.
On the far boards, Getney has it again. He shoots off the pipe and in. Tipped in front, and it's a tie game with 5:19 to go in the first period. Here's the drop of the puck. Underway in the second period. Directed McGlath. Another try in front. Comes Roscoe!
With every series the Golden Knights won, there was an excuse. There was some reason why the Knights overcame the opponent. It was a matter of what excuse could be used.
Game one to the Vegas Golden Knights.
This team destroys the paradigm of how you put a hockey team together. I don't know anybody who did not pick them for last place. They were offered essentially second liners.
But even though the Golden Knights eventually got a happy ending, this was not the year it would come.
We were twice in the third period of game 5, and that was all she wrote.
And it's on! The Washington Capitals, Stanley Cup champions.
Played their hearts out. It was a tough fought battle, but I was just happy that I was able to be a part of this.
Thank you, Golden Knights, and thank you, Las Vegas, for the
After all that, the Golden Knights went home losing the finals 4-1. But just by even getting there, they found a family in each other and the city. And in 2023, they got what they had been deserving of for 5 years. And they got it after demolishing the Panthers 9-3.
The Golden Knights start to celebrate on their bench. The silver trophy to the Golden Knights.
What started as a team that no one believed in became a city that refused to break. Year 1 proved it was possible. Year 6 made it real.